this has been an extremely difficult time for so many families with their children with autism because as we've all been locked down, they've been locked down with their children. But therapy and treatment is so vital throughout this time and really all times. And to try to help them with that, Acorn Health has opened up a new clinic here in this area. To talk a little bit more, let's bring in Emily Besecker. She is with Acorn Health. Emily, great to have you with us.
Thanks. Nice to be here.
So tell us more about Acorn Health because you guys are changing things around in the middle of a pandemic.
Yeah. Yeah, we did not slow down. That's for sure. Acorn Health provides ABA services across 8 different states, kind of on the east side of the country. And in Michigan, we're kind of all over in a lot of different regions. In southeastern Michigan specifically, we have a clinic in Clarkston, a clinic in Clinton Township, and we're just opening a clinic in West Bloomfield.
So in the middle of trying to provide these services, what's it been like for you and members of your team to try to reach these families?
Well, we have had to be really flexible and we've had to pivot kind of very quickly. When, the pandemic first started, we kind of did all in home or mostly in home. We split our team in half. Some people provided services in home. Some people, very limited, provided services in center. And as the pandemic has progressed, we've been able to bring some more individuals back into the center and kind of provide some more services. But we did not stop at any point during the pandemic.
So with that, Emily Besecker with us here on the MegaCast. She's with Acorn Health. And Emily, what's this been like for some of the parents as well?
Well, it's been stressful, right? Just with, just the same as other, families with neurotypical children. School stopped, the routines have changed kind of drastically and dramatically. It's hard to get out of the house and to do the activities that they used to do. And it's been a challenge. But luckily we've been able to continue to provide services and keep kind of working towards those individual goals for our clients.
Because with that too, talk more about the types of therapy and the importance is, kind of keep it on a schedule and a routine.
Yeah, so routine and schedule is so important when we work with clients with an autism spectrum disorder. We work really hard at kind of maintaining the hours of treatment and therapy that we recommended from a clinical perspective, right? At the beginning of the assessment, and we don't want to lose time, right? When we do ABA, a lot of it is like getting a lot of therapy and treatment in a timely manner so we don't lose time and those children can still acquire skills at a rapid pace and continue to move towards their goals.
So Emily, are you concerned that some of your clients could be taking a step back through this pandemic?
I think that we were concerned that we would have to, if we had to stop treatment, completely, that was a big concern, right? That they would lose kind of some steam, right? In their skill acquisition. But luckily we have not had to stop treatment. We've in fact sometimes been able to increase the number of hours we've been able to provide. And so, our clients are all, are doing very well, right? And we kind of continue to kind of keep our eye on the ball and work towards those goals.
So when we're talking about autism, there are so many different avenues and levels of the spectrum. How do you try to come up with a treatment for each child, which is so different?
Yeah, the beautiful thing about behavior analysis is that it's really individualized for every single person. So what ABA treatment might look like for one client, it's not going to look the same almost ever, right, for the next client. So there are all sorts of different skill assessments and behavior assessments that we can kind of choose from that kind of will speak kind of appropriately to each individual client. And then, the picture looks different once we get through that assessment. And we really talk to the parents and we talk to the families and we really look at those individual clients and to determine what are the most socially meaningful goals we can choose for each client.
Amy Besecker with us here on the MegaCast. She's with Acorn Health. And with that too, just from a company standpoint, What has it been like when it comes to trying to manage this in multiple states? Because what's happening, in Florida is not the same thing that's happening in Michigan, and trying to navigate those various changes and how every state has been responding to this pandemic.
Yeah, Acorn Health has been amazing throughout this whole process. They have, like a COVID committee, right, that kind of takes all of the information from the CDC and the states and at a local level, and make sure that our policies, our company-wide policies, like align with all of those. Obviously, we've had to have some separate and specific policies and procedures for, each state as we've kind of navigated this. But the key has been like flexibility and being able to pivot and like adjust very quickly.
And so with that too, it seems like the discussion has been changing over the past decade surrounding autism. I remember years ago, just even the fight to get autism, recognized on a state level for so many of these families to be able to get health insurance. Is that conversation changing now?
Well, I think that, access to care and ABA services in particular is a little bit easier than it was. I've been in this field for almost 14 years. So like when I first moved to Michigan, like the insurance didn't cover autism services. They didn't have the autism benefit. And it was so challenging for families to get the services that they needed, and their children needed. So since the insurance mandate, the access has improved drastically. I think there's still, we still have to navigate insurance and navigate Medicaid. And, there's all of these guidelines around like obtaining a diagnosis and like what kinds of battery of tests do you need in order for the diagnosis to, kind of qualify for ASD services. And so that's still like, sometimes it feels like a full-time job, I'm sure, to these families.
Yeah, because on top of that too, we know, don't worry about your pet. You'll hear
I
mine probably
know.
at some point in
Did you
time
hear him? He's
too.
drinking.
Oh, that's so cute.
He's like very old and barking in his sleep.
Oh, maybe he's chasing a bunny. But with that too, we were talking, how important though is it for parents when their child is diagnosed with autism to get treatment as early as possible?
Yeah, we kind of, research shows that like early intervention, right? As soon as you kind of have that diagnosis, early and intense intervention is the gold standard, right? That you see the most progress, you kind of get like the most impact, socially significant progress is made when you get those children in early, and kind of at an intense level.
So is it hard to kind of navigate this world though, because the research is still new? You're still trying to figure out what works best for some kids and other kids.
So I think that there are, variables on an individual level, right? What works best for one kid might not work best for another child. However, there is kind of a pretty robust body of research now about kind of what the gold standard for treatment is for ASD. And there are many established treatments that we know are effective and are impactful.
So tell us about the new clinic that's going to be here in our area in West Bloomfield.
Yeah, it's at 15 Mile and Orchard Lake. It is not quite open yet. They are still building out some of the inside, but we anticipate that it will be open in June or before June, hopefully. But as we're starting to do a lot of services in home, and then we'll transition to the center-based services once the clinic is open. But we'll provide services for kids between like 18 months, and we'll go all the way up to young adults. We will do both in-center and in-home services. And we're excited to kind of get involved in the community and get to know the area.
And so with that as well, are you feeling a little bit more comfortable? And now that it seems like we're coming on the back side of this pandemic?
I am. I don't like to say that out loud though, because, who knows what will happen next.
Right. We don't want to jinx it because look what's going on in India. It's heartbreaking. And,
Really sad.
while we feel like we're on the backside of this pandemic, it could come back and with the
Yes.
variant. So
Yes, but I am feeling kind of better, and also like just like I know what to do now, right? Before we were kind of flying by the seat of our pants, right? Everyone was trying to determine, what's the best course of action, and now we know kind of how to safely provide treatment in this type of environment.
so with that, Emily, as well, any silver linings that happened for you and your team throughout this pandemic?
Um, well, I'll start with the clients. I think that some clients got to have some more hours, like more services, right? Because they had time in their schedules, right, to get in and have some more intense services, which was great. We saw great progress. Parents were around a little more if they were working from home. And so they were able to be more involved in treatment, which we always want parents to come in as much as they can, right, and be present. Um, but parents were able to be a little more involved. And I think um, we saw skills like generalize, right, from clinic to home and all of those things, which was wonderful. And I think as a team, we've really kind of come together, right? We've worked through kind of a tough time, and I'm always amazed and impressed by my team and the Michigan team in general, that how quickly they're able to pivot and be flexible and really always kind of drive towards like what's best for our clients, and always make decisions with that in mind.
Yeah, you think back to, if we would have been having this conversation, 2 years ago, no way, that's not going to happen,
No,
uh,
no one thought it was really going to happen, even when it was happening
right.
at the
That,
beginning, right?
that it's been a very long 2 weeks, right?
Absolutely.
Also, I have to ask, how has it been trying to navigate this world when it comes to talking about the vaccine, but also mask wearing?
Mhm.
Because, with some people that it's hard for, all of us adults at some point in time, but also autistic children and adults can have a harder time, comprehending what's going on in our world.
Absolutely. I think, we individualize, right? Like our treatment for each client, and we work towards what's going to be most impactful for them. So for some of our clients, that was, let's learn to tolerate wearing a mask, right? Let's be able to determine like in what environments do I need a mask, and when can I take my mask off, and things like that. So it's added a whole new skill set to what we have to think about, especially if they're going to participate in school and have to wear a mask, and can you take it off on the playground or not, and in what context, and all of those things. So that has added a whole nother level to think
It
about.
it really has. And I think part of it too is try to make the mask fun, especially for
Yeah, right.
kids.
Cute masks go a long way.
They so do. With that, Emily Besecker with us here on the MegaCast. She's with Acorn Health. They are going to be opening a new clinic here in the West Bloomfield area. And with that, how can people find out more information about your services if they need to?
So they can go to our website, acornhealth.com. And there's a whole bunch of information there. And then there's a contact us place on the bottom, or they can email admissions@acornhealth.com, and someone will get back to you.
Anything maybe I didn't touch on that you want to add before we say goodbye, Emily?
No, you did great. Thank you.
Well, we so appreciate you coming on with us as well, and shifting your schedule around to accommodate our schedule. We so appreciate it, and best of luck again to you and your team.
Thanks so much.